You wake up and your body is awake, but your mind still feels asleep. You can move, you can answer messages, you can go through the day, but inside, everything feels heavy. Thinking takes effort. Simple decisions feel draining. Focus feels like something you have to force. And even when nothing serious is happening, your brain still feels exhausted. Like there are too many tabs open in the background. So you tell yourself, maybe I just need more sleep. But then you sleep. And somehow, you still wake up tired. Not physically tired, mentally tired, like your mind never actually got to rest. And that's when the question starts to appear, why does my mind always feel tired? The answer usually isn't that you're weak. It isn't that you're lazy. And it isn't always that you need more motivation. It's that your brain has been carrying too much for too long without ever getting quiet enough to recover. Most people think mental fatigue comes from doing too much, but often it comes from processing too much information, too many decisions, too many emotional signals, too many unfinished thoughts, too much noise entering your mind before it ever gets a chance to clear itself. Your brain was not designed to be constantly updated, but modern life treats your mind like a device that should always be online, always reachable, always responsive, always absorbing something. And eventually, your brain doesn't feel calm anymore. It feels crowded. That's the real problem. Not that you don't have energy, but that your energy is leaking in too many directions. Think about how your day usually begins. You wake up. Before your mind is even settled, you check your phone. Messages, notifications, news, videos, other people's thoughts, other people's problems, other people's lives. And within minutes, your brain is no longer starting from silence. It is starting from input. Then the rest of the day continues the same way. You switch between tasks, you answer messages, you make small decisions, you consume content, you avoid something uncomfortable, you remember something you forgot, you think about what you should be doing, and even when you finally get a break, you fill the break with more stimulation, scrolling, watching, listening, checking. So your body might be sitting still, but your mind never really rests. That's why you can spend an entire evening doing nothing and still feel drained. Because your brain wasn't resting, it was consuming. The hidden cause of mental fatigue is not always effort. It's fragmentation. Your attention gets split into tiny pieces all day long. A message pulls one piece, a notification pulls another, an unfinished task pulls another, a worry pulls another, a future plan pulls another, a comparison pulls another. And by the end of the day, there is very little of you left in one place. This is why your mind feels tired even when your life looks normal from the outside. Because mental fatigue is often invisible. No one sees the constant switching. No one sees the background anxiety. No one sees the open loops. No one sees the emotional weight of things you haven't dealt with yet. But your brain feels all of it. Every incomplete task, every avoided decision, every conversation you replay, every future problem you try to solve before it happens. It all takes mental space. And when enough things stay open, your mind starts to feel like it's never done. Here's a practical shift that helps almost immediately. Stop trying to hold everything in your head. Write it down, not perfectly, not beautifully, just clearly. What are you thinking about? What are you avoiding? What needs action? What can wait? What is not actually yours to solve? Mental loops become heavier when they stay vague, but when you put them on paper, something changes. They become visible. And what becomes visible becomes easier to handle. A tired mind often doesn't need more motivation. It needs fewer open loops. Here's something most people don't notice. A lot of mental tiredness comes from living in reaction mode. You're reacting to messages, reacting to deadlines, reacting to notifications, reacting to other people's expectations, reacting to your own guilt, reacting to the feeling that you're behind. And when you spend enough time reacting, you stop feeling like you are choosing your life. You start feeling like life is constantly pulling you around. That creates a specific kind of exhaustion, not physical exhaustion, Identity exhaustion, the feeling that you are always responding, but rarely directing. And that kind of tiredness doesn't disappear just because you sleep, because sleep restores the body, but it doesn't automatically restore a life that feels out of alignment. Most people try to fix mental fatigue by becoming more productive. They add routines, systems, goals, plans. But if your mind is already overloaded, adding more can make the problem worse. Sometimes the first step is not doing more, it's consuming less. Less noise in the morning, less random content during breaks, less multitasking, less checking things that do not need to be checked, less carrying every thought alone. Before you ask your brain to produce more focus, give it less to process. That one change can make your entire day feel different, because clarity often returns when input decreases. Mental fatigue also comes from emotional avoidance. This is uncomfortable to admit, but many people are not only tired because they are busy, they are tired because they keep avoiding things that need their attention, a decision, a conversation, a fear, a responsibility, a truth they don't want to face. Avoidance feels easier in the moment, but it is expensive, because what you avoid doesn't disappear. It stays in the background, quietly taking energy. That's why you can be relaxing, but still feel tense. That's why you can be scrolling, but still feel a pressure underneath it. That's why you can say, "I'm fine," while something in you still feels unsettled. Your mind is tired because part of it is always holding the door shut. You don't need to fix your whole life today. That would only create more pressure. But you can choose one thing, one small thing you've been avoiding. Send the message, clean the space, make the appointment, open the document, have the conversation, write the first sentence. The moment you face one avoided thing, your mind gets some energy back. Not because the task was huge, but because avoidance was taking more from you than the task itself. A lot of peace comes from finally doing the thing your brain has been quietly carrying. Maybe your mind is not tired because something is wrong with you. Maybe your mind is tired because it has been asked to live in a way humans were never built for. Always connected, always comparing, always processing, always available, always thinking about what comes next. And maybe the answer is not to become harder. Maybe the answer is to become more protective. Protective of your attention, protective of your mornings, protective of silence, protective of your emotional energy, protective of the few quiet spaces where your mind can finally return to itself. Because your attention is not unlimited, your mental energy is not unlimited, and your peace is not something you can keep sacrificing without consequences. The truth is, your mind will still get tired sometimes. That is part of being human. You will still have busy days, heavy thoughts, unfinished things, moments where everything feels like too much. But slowly, you can learn to notice what drains you. You can notice when your mind is full before it becomes overwhelmed. You can close loops, reduce noise, face what you've been avoiding, choose silence instead of more stimulation. And over time, your mind begins to feel lighter. Not because life became perfect, but because you stopped forcing your brain to carry everything at once. Real growth does not always look like doing more. Sometimes, it looks like removing what was quietly exhausting you. One thought, one distraction, one avoided thing, one quiet moment at a time.